Today we're going to learn how to create different values in paint. Value just means the lightness and darkness of a color, and that just means that it's a color mixed with either black or with white. If you notice, I've already got out here red, and that's what I'm going to be using for today. So lightness or darkness of a color is value. Specifically, there's two different names. One name you guys will know, and it's called a shade. Another name is called a tint. These two things are what we call when we mix our black with either white or red, our red with either black or white. So a shade is just any color plus black, and a tint is any color plus white. Now, I have here some water and a paintbrush, and off to the side I've just got a little paper towel so that I can dry off my paint. Normally you want to get a little bit of water into your paintbrush because it usually helps this to flow a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm loading my brush pretty well with paint. And the first thing I'm going to do is just paint my pure color. I'm going to put my pure color here in the middle, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to make our box completely full of whatever pure color we're using. If you're using blue, the middle box will be blue. If you're using yellow, it will be yellow. Currently, obviously, I'm using red. You can start to see that after a bit, it begins to get a little bit dry, so that just means you're reloading your brush and you're starting again. Notice that as I brush towards an edge, I try to slowly get up to that edge as I'm trying to control my brush even while I'm doing a value scale, because this helps me to understand later how I'm going to control the brush on my final painting. So move slowly, and as you move slowly, you'll fill in that entire box. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to create a shade. A shade being red plus black. Now, when we add black to a color, it affects the color significantly more than white would affect the color. So right now, I want to make sure that I leave my red completely red, and I'm actually just going to take a little bit of this over here to the side, and I'm going to take a tiny amount of black. The smallest amount of black in red or in any color will significantly affect it. You can see that already just a little dab of black in my red has made my red a lot darker. So I'm going to go ahead and now paint into this box with my slightly darker red. I'm going to go a little faster than you should be going just because of the video. And next, I'm going to try and make one more shade of red. Now, if you look here, you can see that it's a bit darker, okay? I'm now going to take a bit more black and add it in. I want to be careful not to make it too dark. Excuse me. And I can feel my paint starting to get a little dried up, so I'm just tapping in and adding a little bit of water. Once I've got a nice dark red mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that I did earlier, and I'm going to paint into here. So again, you should be making sure that you're doing this a little bit more slowly than me. I usually can control the brush pretty well even when doing it fast. So next, this is a very important step, because we never want our red and our black mixture to mix with our red and our white mixture, meaning your shade and your tint should never mix together. If you mix black and white together, it will make a gray inside of your color, and it'll make your color look really, really dull. So all I'm doing is completely washing out my brush, making sure that it comes pretty clean. Okay, and as you'll notice now, since I'm done with these, I can just add white into this. You'll notice that even if I take a significant amount of white and I add it in here, it's going to really affect the color a lot less than it was affected when we added in the black. So now I feel like after adding in about that much, this should be a pretty good tint, slightly lighter. And I'll do one more tint. And that one more tint will just be very slightly lighter than this one. This time I'm going to add in a good amount of white because I want you to be able to really see that change. There you are. I'm going to add a bit more water to loosen it up. And as you can see now, I've got a good change in values. And this change in values allows me to be ready for my abstract landscape painting. When you have completed a value scale that is nice, neat, and clean, and has several different tints and several different shades, you'll then show me and I will allow you to move on to your final painting. So today you learned about value scales, you learned about shades and tints.